Many people believe that wild beasts cannot be tamed. People living in the wilderness of taiga forests even have a saying, no matter how much you feed a wolf, he will always go to the forest. That the place of a wild beast is in the wild, and certainly not with people. And if you keep a wild animal in your home, then sooner or later it will attack its owner, driven by its animal instincts. Some people believe this and will avoid wild animals altogether. Then there are some who nurse wounded animals back to health before releasing them back into the wild. There are many cases that confirm both points of view. There are many stories online about wild animals attacking their owners who mistakenly believed they could tame them. However, one thing remains true. If you have decided to rescue a wounded animal, then you must be prepared to take responsibility for it. The story that we will tell you today happened in a small, remote village during winter. There are many such villages in which it seems time has stopped. People still travel via horse-drawn carriages, heat their homes with stoves, and cook their food over an open fire. Things out of the ordinary rarely occur in such places, and if such events do occur, they are spoken about for many years to come. That is how this story has come to us, passed down from generation to generation. Get comfortable as we get started. An old couple lived in that village. Their children had grown up and left for the city to start their own families long ago, but they never managed to come back to visit their elderly parents. The eldest granddaughter turned 9 years old that year, and her parents decided to let her spend the winter holidays with her grandparents. She was to arrive by train at the station, which was several miles from the village, and her grandfather was going to meet her. He decided to surprise his granddaughter by picking her up on his horse-drawn wagon. He packed extra blankets for her, as the city girl would not be accustomed to the cold weather, and he set off early in the morning. It was just over an hour's trip, but he allowed extra time, as you never know what could happen along the way. He seemed to have a premonition that something was bound to happen. When he was over halfway to his destination, he saw a gray spot in the distance right in the middle of the road. It was clearly something alive, as it appeared to be moving. The old man thought that it was a wolf, and he was right. He always carried a gun with him just in case, so he took it out and stopped his horse some distance away from the predator. The man assumed the wolf to be injured, as there was a lot of red snow around, and the wolf only occasionally raised its head. Of course, the simplest thing any local resident would do is just shoot the wolf to put it out of its misery. But something stopped the old man from doing this. He looked the wolf straight into its eyes and felt sorry for the poor, wounded animal. He walked closer to it, then spoke to it. He asked in a kind voice if the wolf would allow him to help, which the wolf responded by lowering its head into the snow. So the old man brought his wagon closer to the animal and carefully lifted it inside, then covered it with blankets. He managed to get to the train in time, but when the girl first saw the horse, then the wagon, and then the wounded wolf inside, she was speechless. Instead of going right home, they went to a veterinary clinic to get the wolf examined, bandaged, and treated. The doctor then gave them recommendations for caring for the beast and then sent them on their way. The girl and her grandparents took care of the wolf during her time there, and then she returned to the city. The old man continued to care for the wolf himself. 6 months passed. Local residents had gotten used to the sound of wolves howling at night, but they still passed the old man's house with caution. Many were upset that he kept a wild animal at home and insisted he return it to the wild as soon as possible, or shoot it and be done with it. The old man finally gave in to the people's requests and put the wolf in his wagon early one morning, then drove it towards the forest. When the horse could go no further, the man put the wolf over his shoulders and carried it further into the thicket. When he had gone far enough, he put the wolf on the ground. The man then took his gun and shot into the air, intending to scare the wolf away. At the unexpected loud sound, the wolf ran away, and the man, with tears in his eyes, turned back to his wagon. However, instead of going home, he decided to visit some friends instead, as everything at home reminded him of the wolf. Later that night, when he finally returned home, he opened the gate to put the horse in its stall and was surprised to see a pair of green eyes looking at him from the darkness. The wolf sat and looked reproachfully at its master, as if he was scolding him for leaving him alone in the wilderness. The man's joy knew no bounds as he hugged his wolf and promised him never to leave him in the forest again. Here is such an amazing story about a wild animal that became so attached to a person that he himself did not want to live in the wild, but preferred to stay next to the one who helped him in difficult times. Friends, if you liked this story, then click like and subscribe to our channel.